primarily in South Florida. And so we also work with Geo Group as a community organization that provides support to some of the participants on the caseload of guys that work as case managers for Geo Group. Now, some of these guys that are sitting here today, my colleagues here, they're also going to share their testimonies and their experiences. But one thing I think that's important is that we have to, I think, take a more organic approach to second chances. What I mean by that is we have to be more hands-on. So when I was released, I realized that getting out of prison wasn't an easy thing to do, of course, and then getting yourself back on your feet. And so when I was in the Geo facility, I gained the skills that I needed to be successful, but one thing stood out. I kept seeing folks return back to prison after they were released because they simply didn't have employment, housing, and other essential resources that they require to maintain a life in free society. So when I discovered these things while still incarcerated myself, I took note of it. And so when I was released, I made sure that I would fill those gaps, the gaps that existed within the industry called re-entry. And so my company was founded on those same principles to fill the service gaps that existed within the industry. And so now we employ about 20 individuals from 2 federal halfway houses between different facilities in South Florida. And so extending opportunities to folks who have been in the same experience that I've been actually taught me even more about second chances. And what I learned was this, and I'll share some of it with you folks, is I know what the data says, but actually having the lived experience is totally different. And so we know that when you extend an individual the opportunity of gainful employment, that individual is less likely to commit another offense. We know that. We know that for a fact. But when you actually continue that support with that individual throughout at least 12 months, we know that that individual is even less likely to reoffend. And then so we thought about extending the support, the reentry support, to past the 12 months, because we realized if we can get these guys employment and then we can get them to get on their feet and then support their families. Some of them are starting families for the first time because they went in when they were young. So it's also a mentoring process. And then now, those same individuals, now they have the lived experience necessary to reach back to others who are being released from incarceration, and they can guide them as well. And one thing that I'm also noticing is that these folks are so self-driven that they not only look for one job, but they're like folks in the islands say, I got 3 jobs, you know? So these guys are the most motivated individuals you will ever meet because they feel like they have a lot to accomplish, they have a lot to prove to society, and because they're so grateful for the second chance opportunity that they're not thinking for a minute that to squander those opportunities. So, I'm gonna let these guys here talk, but I just want you all to focus today on what it means to give second chances to an individual. And I'm not just talking about employment, right? Because there is a spiritual connection to being released from incarceration, right? It's a holy feeling when you're released because your freedom has been taken from you for so long, and when you finally are let out of those gates, it feels like being in heaven. I'm telling you folks, it feels like being in heaven. So it's a spiritual connection there too. And just sharing that connection with folks who are released from incarceration makes them feel even more wanted in society, because some folks don't have the family support or community support that they require. But if you see or you know of anyone who has served time in the system, or these folks are under some form of correctional supervision, just speak to them, let them know that you understand, or that you're seeking to understand their plight and what they're going through, because it'll carry them a little bit further. So I kind of, and that's what I meant by being more organic, is being more involved, being more hands-on with folks that are being released from the carceral systems throughout the United States. And I'm going to let my brother here, Mr. Giver, share his experiences with you all. Thank you.
My name is Daryl Guilford. I'm an Army veteran and also a post-release case manager for the GEO Group. How I got to the GEO Group, just like Giovanni, I was actually, when I got out of the military, I actually made some mistakes and ended up being incarcerated. I actually served over 20 years in the Florida Department of Correction, and I was housed at the GEO Group. When I was housed in the GEO facility, just like Giovanni, I re-educated myself. I participated in all the programs, and I actually became a law clerk. And during that time as a law clerk at the GEO facility, I had the chance to assist other participants, my other inmates inside the facility in their legal work, in their legal challenges. Also during that time in the GEO facility, that we established veteran dorms, where veterans were housed together, and veterans came together to address the issues that brought us into the facilities and things that we needed to do. Throughout that whole time, I asked God why. Why, after everything I've been through, serving this country, thinking I was a pretty good dude, doing the things that I needed to do. I thought I was a good son, a good father. And then I made those mistakes, and it seemed like, I felt abandoned. I didn't know anything was going on.